This one's my favorite of the doubles, and I just want to go back to experience, because that's really what matters. If we can come away from these classes or meetings or group meditations with a deeper experience, then we're successful, right? And we're all different, and we're all different flowers in this beautiful divine garden. And we all experience different energies from these different letters in different ways. In many ways, it's connected. The transcendent experience is very similar, but paradoxically, it's also very different depending on your instrument that you experience it with, right? So now we're in the middle. Kaf is the middle of the menorah in the inner court, right, of the 7 branches. And it represents the energy of the sun, and also wealth. Its foundation is wealth, and its transpose is poverty. And obviously, it's a star. Now, interestingly enough, in the Sefer Yetzirah, when describing most of these luminaries, the Hebrew word used is kokav. And really, only one of the doubles that is a star is the sun. But the book is ancient enough so that we didn't have as much planetary information back then as we do now. But kokav is a very mystical term, and we just look a little bit at its gematria, right? So it's spelled kaf, vav, kaf, vet. So we look at this almost like the combination of 2 words, ko and kav. And kokav, interestingly, when we look at the gematria, ko, right, which is kav, kaf, and vav, is, what is the numerical value of that? 26, right? Because the kaf is 20 and the vav is 6. So it's 26. And then kaf vet is 22. So Abulafia and Suarez and Kaplan and a lot of Kabbalists say this is very significant as we reach this point, this sort of center point in the holy place or the inner court. And in our case, what we're talking about in the center of our brain is the thalamus, right? So the energy of the thalamus, which is often called the gateway of consciousness. In fact, I'll read my little snippet. Hold on, I'm going to just pull it up here. From one of the neurologists. The thalamus is the major sensory relay station of the brain, receiving all inputs and connecting reciprocally with the overlying cortex. A study done by Kirk and Koch in 2003 concluded and described the thalamus as the gateway to consciousness. So let me get that off there. Go back to, no, I don't see anybody. Try this. There we go. So think of it. In the center of our brain, we have this thing that's called the gateway of consciousness. And it's related to the energy of the kaf. In the center of our universe, we have the sun. And it's related to the sun. And the meaning, the Hebrew word for kokav, star, is got a numerical value connecting 26 and 22. So 22 should be obvious to you because I say all the time there's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, right? So those keys that Bear was asking about are these 22 letters. And if we think of this as a gateway where our senses are sending messages to the thalamus and they're reciprocating, messages are going out to our complete physiology. It's a gateway of consciousness. You look at Kaf, and we say Kaf is also the first letter in the word Keter. So Keter is the crown of the Sephira in the tree of life, right? Or the Sephirot. So it is the gateway. It is sort of the opening from Ein Sof, pure consciousness, the unified field of pure consciousness, flows into, or the Holy of Holies, we could say, emanates into that holy place or the nervous system within us. So that gateway is Keter. And then it follows to Chachma and Binah, Chesed, Gevorah, all of these beautiful expressions of divine consciousness. So when we experience the energy and the flavor of Kaf, which is also the first letter of Kohen, right? So it's a priestly letter. Priestly meaning it's giving us the information of pure consciousness by which we send to the senses, and then the senses experience finer and finer levels of the relative, and then the senses themselves can experience the holy place and transcend that into the Holy of Holies through any of the senses. But here we have this crown in the middle, the Kohen, the priestly place within us in the thalamus, and the Kaf is absolutely critical. So that's the 22. What's the 26? That makes Kokav so special. So I know Philip knows, but he's being quiet and not saying anything. Of course, the 26 is the numerical value of the Yud He Vav He, right? So we have the catalyst, the catalytic converter, if you will, of pure consciousness being the Yud. So Aleph is that complete silence in the transcendent. And then begins to emanate, and the Yud is like the catalyst for its vibrational movement throughout the inner court and then the outer court and all of the worlds. The He is the receiver of that energy, and the Vav is the channel in which it flows. So if we're experiencing transcendence and we're diving deep within us, and we have that experience of no thought, no letter, we've gone beyond the letter into this no space and time. And then as we come out of that, we experience space. We talked about that when we talked about the first double letter, bet. And then there's a cycle, a creative cycle happens because now there's space and cycles. And that's the gimel, the galgal, the cycle, the circle. And then hakma is the experience of that space and that cycle. And now we walk through that hakma being dalit and wisdom. We walk through the door into the kaf, and that 26, that Yud He Vav He, that movement brings us into an incredible experience where the relative and the absolute exist together. And there's a feeling where stars are all over us, within us and around us, the energy of them and the beauty. And not only do we receive it, but we send it in this beautiful circle and cycle. So that's the sort of basic understanding of the teaching of the energy of the Ka and the experience of that energy. The most beautiful experiences, I would say, maybe the most beautiful experiences that I've had in meditation over the many, many years I've been meditating, has been in that area, in that holy place, where that door opens and you're experiencing that energy, like the energy of the sun. Like it's way more than it's like 1,000 suns. The energy of 1,000 suns. The warmth from head to toe in the physiology, one experiences it. It's amazing.